What's happening, guys? What's up? What's up? What's up? It is just past 9:30. It's Tuesday, and you're kicking it with Johnny Gaz live. How we doing? How is everybody's week going? How's your Tuesday? Hope you're doing well. I've been a little bit under the weather the last couple days. I've had a weird stomach the last few days. I thought I made it out of Cancun healthy. The trip, the travel. I had a little weird stomach the day I got back, but last week was fine. So I'm like, okay, nothing came home with me. That's great. But for some reason, getting back to work, back to the real life and reality now, I got some sort of stomach bug. So I've been a little weird the last couple of days, but I'm feeling okay this evening. And I am very happy to be back with you guys, having a fantastic night. Don't know Grit, what's happening? Mile Marker, what's up? What up, though? Trim Reaper, my dog, how you doing? Lightning Days, no worries for missing it last week. How you doing? Good to see you guys. Appreciate y'all for getting in the chat early. Appreciate it very much. Make sure to slap that like button. Let's share the stream out as early as we can tonight. Let's get our friends and family involved with Johnny Gaz Live right away. I appreciate you guys. Thank you so much for joining me live, always on Tuesdays and Thursdays at 9:30 p.m. Eastern. We're talking Detroit sports. We got a lot of good topics here tonight. A lot of good stuff going around the Detroit sports scene, although we are in kind of a lull period for actual regular season Detroit sports. No NFL right now. There's no regular season basketball until Thursday. There's no hockey going on right now with the Olympic break. And we know the Tigers are getting closer and closer to actual spring training with pitchers and catchers working in Lakeland, Florida. So there's kind of a lull or a down period, but there is still so much fun going on around the Detroit sports scene. We got the Pistons involved in the All-Star game. They're coming out of the All-Star break riding a hot streak. So we're going to dive into that big time. That's our main topic of the day. I have a Lions topic for us. We're going to talk about the Red Wings and the Olympic hockey tournament, and then the Tigers' new alternate uniforms. So why don't we open it up right there? I'd love to get your guys' thoughts and opinions on the Tigers' new ultimate uniforms, which you can see to my left, your right, if you're looking at the screen. But let me also pull this up. Let me add this to the stage here. There we go. That's a good look. There's the Tigers' new alternate uniforms, which haven't necessarily officially been announced by the club. They've teased it through their social media, but we now know through the MLB shop, Fanatics, they've all leaked this already, and it was actually featured in the MLB 26 trailer. So you're seeing now the new alternate uniforms for the Tigers. You have the alternate orange and a new alternate navy blue. And I'd love to hear what you guys think. I love the new alternates. And actually, it's funny. I love to hear you say that, Lightning. A lot of people think this is black. It is a dark navy blue. So they're sticking with the primary colors. I thought it was black the first time I looked at it. The couple images I saw, I thought it was as well. But it was confirmed this is an actual navy blue. But I like them. I really do. I even like the orange. I've seen a lot of up and down with this, though. I think a lot of people got really stirred up with the City Connect uniforms. And obviously, I'm rocking a hat right here. So I'm not saying I'm completely against them. I like some of the things they did with that. But in general, there was a lot of backlash with those City Connects because they're so far and away from, the history of the Tigers and everything they've done with that uniform for the past 100 years. The City Connect is kind of paying homage to the automotive industry and everything that way. Well, it's just so different from your normal Detroit Tiger stuff. I think this is more classic. I mean, obviously, bright orange is different. It's new, but orange has always been a part of the Tigers color scheme, leading all the way back into the 20s and 30s even. But now it's just featured prominently. And what I've heard, the detractors are saying now we look like the Detroit Orioles. So let me know what you guys think. Do you think this is the Detroit Orioles? Is this a bad version of an alternate uniform? Do you like the blue over the orange over the blue? I want to hear from you guys because I'm hearing a little bit of everything. Yeah, it's navy blue there. I thought it was black as well, but that's a navy blue. I think it's a sharp look. I like that one over the orange, but I don't dislike the orange. I think it's different. And let's keep in mind too, guys, I mean, they're probably only going to wear these a select number of times throughout the year. The City Connects were every, I think, Friday home game is what it turned into. So those are still in the rotation. I can't imagine they're going to mix these in a ton, but it's fun. I think they're fun. I think it's different. It's new. I think it'll be a good look for the Tigers. I like them. Oh, Millicent. Oh, I didn't know that. Lightning Days 38 is Millicent. Well, I apologize. I didn't know that. Now that I do, we would have kicked it off with one of these. chat. Thank you for getting involved with any hashtag or name. All are welcome here. She says, I like the blue more than the orange. That's fair. Don't Know Grit says, these are fire. I like it. I'm kind of with you, man. I like these. I think it's a new look. It's different, but I think it still pays homage to a lot of what the history of the uniform's been. The Old English D's still there. The Script Detroit's there. Again, they've used orange in the past, and actually this uniform isn't too far and away from the old grays they were rocking in the mid-90s. If you remember, old-time Tigers fans knows with the Old English, the Tiger, with the Old English D, the Al Kaline days. When he was announcing the games with him and Ernie Harwell, they rocked a gray that mixed in the orange, and they were very similar to what these looked like, but they were gray. So I like them. I really do. Blue over the orange is cooler in my opinion, says Trim. I'm with you there. I hit you with a gong. Always going to get you with a gong, Millicent. My bad. I didn't realize that was you. No worries there. So yeah, I wanted to bring that up first because I'd come out with a short this last week, kind of outlining the fact that they came out with the new uniforms, and I was blown away by how many people actually didn't like them. I kind of thought it'd be a good reception. I think they're cool. I think they'll look even cooler in game. Imagine Justin Verlander or Scooble rocking this, opening day, which I don't think they'll do that opening day, but you get my point. I think they're going to look good in them. I really do. It's sharp. It's different. Something new from the Tigers, and I like that. So we'll open it up with that. But let's start as we normally do here by going around the D. So let's go around the D. We talked about the Tigers' new uniform sets. So that's a big topic of discussion. If you haven't already weighed in, let me know if you like the orange or the blue. They will be up here all night long. So let me know what you think of those two new alternate uniforms. Mile Marker says, I like the orange. Reminds me of Little League. I'm with you there. I think I'm going to look at that as a good thing. I don't know if you're being sarcastic or not. I like that. I think it is different. It's not your normal pinstripe or your normal just white. Obviously, it's different from tradition, but I like them. I think it's a cool look. But now thinking about going around the D, I think one of the biggest topics right now is with the Lions, obviously now heading full on into the offseason. We're ramping up towards the NFL draft and everything that goes along with mock draft season. And you have free agents to worry about for the Lions, who they're going to go get. Do they make a splash move? Do they re-sign the guys they have? Well, that's kind of where we're at with the Lions this offseason. So it's sort of brought up the main topic of who first will the Lions bring back? Who are the free agents the Lions currently have on their roster? Who should they re-sign? Now, Kadeem Muhammad is a big name that's floating out there. That's a big one. But I think even bigger than that is what the Lions do with linebacker Alex Anzalone. Now, we've seen a lot of back and forth between Alex Anzalone and the Detroit Lions social media over the last couple of weeks. And that's sort of what makes me bring up the topic today. And I'd love to hear what you guys think. So let's kind of set the tone with this for people who may not be familiar. Anzalone's been with the Lions since 2021. He's one of the originals. When Dan Campbell and Brad Holmes took over, he was a guy that they looked to because he was a part of that New Orleans system, a guy that they trusted to sort of handle the offense and be the green dot play caller. And he's been a big part of the resurgence of the Lions from that point forward. Now, he's had up and down years, maybe his best in 2022, and sort of has slipped from there as he's gotten a little bit older. Injuries have played a part. In 2025, he played in all 16 games, posted 95 tackles, 9 pass breakups, 2.5 sacks, and an interception. And he showed that he can still contribute at a high level. But what we do know is Jack Campbell has sort of taken over the green dot responsibilities and being the leader of the defense. Jack Campbell statistically as well has now become an all-pro linebacker. So he's really leading the charge in the linebacker room for the Lions as far as Jack Campbell's concerned. So now it comes down to money management. And not only money management, but Alex Anzalone seems to make it a little bit more difficult on himself, because he just seems to want to open up the conversation in all kinds of different ways. And it seems to me like Alex Anzalone needs to feel some love. And this is not me knocking Alex Anzalone, the person, the human being. He seems like a good guy, a family man. I think he wants to stick around the organization. but he's a guy that needs that respect. And over the last several years, you've seen him come out with cryptic tweets and on TikTok and his Instagram accounts, sort of asking for more respect, either from the Lions organization or from other folks around the league. And the most recent one was in a video the Detroit Lions came out with, sort of, it was surrounding Valentine's Day, and they were making a joke, in essence, of not all breakups are bad. And they were showing a highlight reel of Detroit defenders breaking up passes throughout the season. Well, Alex Anzalone took and ran with that and posted on his social media basically that, let's make a long story short, throwing shade back at the Lions social media because he felt he wasn't getting enough love. He ended up taking down that conversation because it went back and forth too far. And I think even he realized that ultimately this wasn't the Lions going at Alex Anzalone, but it was the Lions social media just doing what they do. And for him to take offense to the post, which really I had nothing to do with Alex Anzalone and his contract, to take it and run with it that way, to me, sort of leans me in the direction I'm going here. And I really want to hear from you guys. Because it may not be just about football. Sometimes it's money management. Sometimes there's other factors. The Lions are projected already to be over the cap this season, and they're going to have to make tough decisions in the restructuring of contracts and then ultimately who they decide to re-sign. And keeping Alex Anzalone, which right now, from all estimations, seems to be about $7.3 million per year on the open market. Could Detroit be forced to sacrifice Alex Anzalone because of that number, because of the cap space that they're going to need elsewhere? We talked about the long experience of people emerging as the defensive star for the Lions, so they really don't need Alex Anzalone to be the guy. His role has already shifted over the last several seasons. So that will impact how much money he's ultimately worth, especially to the Lions. And he might be worth more elsewhere. You're hearing a little bit of talk that the New York Jets may have a lot of interest in Alex Anzalone. So will that interest drive up the price? And really, will that mean that the Lions won't want to re-sign him? So you have a couple things at play here, not just X's and O's, but the money aspect. And then you also have the player who's given you a lot of good years, have been a big part of this rebuild, but has also over the last several seasons been a big part of this narrative about the Lions not respecting Alex Anzalone. And I would make the opposite argument. I think the Lions have respected Anzalone. They restructured and gave him more money last year in an incentive-based contract. They signed him to a 3-year deal previously, so they showed him that they were willing to give him a multi-year prior to that. But at this point, with his age, with the amount of production he's given and the other talent you have in the room, he's just not worth what he once was. And I guess you can't blame the player. You can't blame Alex Anzalone for lobbying for himself. That's what you want out of a linebacker or a player. But it's now gotten to the point where he's arguing with the team's social media. And is that more a distraction? And does that make him worth less ultimately to the organization? What's up, Joseph Burt? He says, we need that other pass rusher. I mean, listen, man, ain't that the truth? And we're going to talk about that on future episodes. I actually came out with a short today kind of talking about mock draft and how we could help with that other pass rusher. Don't Know says, if you want to live in a 4-3 again this year, you keep him. If you want to move away from 3 linebackers at all times, you let him walk. I mean, that's a good point. Scheme-wise, does it fit for what the Lions want to do, need to do? I think a lot of it will come down to the health of the safeties, what they want to do on the defensive line, what they do with the draft. Obviously, the talent they bring in, hopefully they'll be able to adjust the scheme to the talent rather than what I think happened a lot last year is trying to fit the talent into their scheme. Millicent says the social media folks are some youngins who may not have a thorough understanding of some things. You could argue that, I guess. If somebody's that clever in the Lions social media and they're willing to go at a player, I think you have a bigger problem. So what I would say more is I think this is Alex Anzalone being a little bit oversensitive to certain things, and he's really trying to make the best out of the contract that he's going to get. He may have only 1 or 2 contracts left. You know, if he doesn't get a multi-year deal here or a 1-year deal he's happy with, and he might go elsewhere. He might look to the Jets. Remember, Aaron Glenn's there, familiarity, and they may value a guy like that more there than they will here in Detroit. Got to get a proven center, number one. Trim, that's huge. That's their biggest concern is what do they do on the offensive line? We're going to talk about that. Lions Talk Live in the house. What up, Dan? Woo! I appreciate you, buddy. Appreciate you being around always. If you guys have not checked out Lions Talk Live, a lot of you have already heard from that channel, so I appreciate you guys so much. But if you haven't already, make sure to check out Dan at Lions Talk Live and all the good people over there. A proven edge, number two, Trim. Absolutely, absolutely true. And in my recent short I came out with today, that was my argument. There's got to be an attempt to add something in free agency that solidifies either your offensive or defensive line, and then the draft is used to solidify the other side of that. Lieutenant Dan, you got legs. That's right, he does. Switch to a 4-2-5, let Anzo go, and hang with Glenn. I mean, you could absolutely do that. So that means if you go that route, don't know grit, then I think we really are concerned with what happens with the safeties, and I think you got to stockpile a few more cornerbacks. I think you got to feel good about, either re-sign Amik Robertson, or do you look elsewhere? Do you draft more corners? I think you got to get a little heavier in the defensive backfield if you're going to go that route. I think Anzalone realized that he got into his feelings a bit, and that led to the deletion. I'm 1,000% with you, and that's what makes me question this a little bit. It's like he's got to catch himself. Now, I don't know. Maybe the organization looks at it differently. I might be a little oversensitive to that as a fan, but it just feels like we've seen this story before, Alex. Like, we get it. We respect you. I know the organization respects him. I think they'd like to have him back. They love the veteran leadership that he would provide to any new players you bring in. He knows the system. And he's still putting up good numbers. He's still a decent player. He's certainly a good off-the-ball. He defends the pass well in the linebacker position. So I don't know if the Lions necessarily want to lose that, but I just think he might overvalue his worth. Dan says, use Branch as a linebacker safety on most downs. I mean, I agree with you. I think the issue, Dan, and you know this, I mean, it's just, what is Branch's status going into this year? Does he hit the ground running and come back sooner than later, or does the Achilles take him out through even Thanksgiving to where the effectiveness that Branch can give only is limited? Appreciate you being involved in the chat very much, Dan. Thank you very much, buddy. I hope Branch and Kirby can return to form. I'm with you, Trim. That's such a big piece to the Lions defense. It really will dictate a lot of what they do. I hope more than anything that the Lions and Kirby can figure out what they want to do. Branch is a healing Achilles, and we just know that's time, and I think Branch will come back 100%. I really don't doubt that. It's just more of a timing thing. But with Kirby, this is a injury that it's scary, and they need to know what he can give them before the draft, because if he can't give them a full season, and if that's going to just continue to stock, or add, then I think they need to think about additional defensive back help even more. Safety is going to be huge. Don't know says I have the Lions taking a safety in round 4. I think that's going to be the way to go. I think with the current status of your safeties, you got to have depth at the very least at the beginning of the year. So I think it's probably smart to do that either way. I'm with you. Kirby was a good Cowboy till he got shot. That's it, man. His horse went lame. Bucked him off. What's up, Jay Cruisin? How you doing, buddy? Appreciate you, buddy. If you haven't already, make sure to slap the like button. Share the stream out so we can get your friends and family involved. Appreciate you guys very much. Also, make sure to check out Matt at Don't Know Grit, all of your social networks. And let me tell you, buddy, you are putting out fantastic, concise, reliable content for Detroit Lions every single day. I'll tell you what, you're deep diving it even more than I could ever do recently, and I really appreciate that. I go to your channel a lot for detailed information at Don't Know Grit. I appreciate that, buddy. So yeah, let me know in the chat. Let's keep this very simple. So Alex Anzalone, if you guys are the Lions, are you let's say the dollar amount makes sense that the Lions could do it. Are you bringing Alex Anzalone back, or are you letting him walk? We've already seen a couple of you guys have said, sounds like you want to let him walk. Is that the consensus here? Or is this really just about the dollar amount? So let me know in the chat. Do you re-sign Alex Anzalone, or no, I'm not re-signing him? Yes, I'm re-signing. No, I'm not re-signing him. That's right, Rob. There's a ton of ifs and buts. I mean, that's the game we're playing. And I tried to do that today with my short. Guys, I've been trying. the last couple nights I've done some mock draft sims. Just on my own. That's how I've usually done it, is try to do a few, familiarize myself with the process, the players available. I will tell you this. I have had a hard time deep diving into mock drafts. And I don't know if it's because of where the Lions are at, but I think it's more personally on me of where I'm trying to do with the channel. So that's why I mentioned at Don't Know Grit and a lot of the great information that you're providing, because really, man, you're going deep dive on a lot of good stuff. It says Anzo walks, Amik stays. Krim says he's walking. So he's thinking Anzalone's walking. Lightning says, I'm excited to see the players who missed the season due to injury. Hassanin, Dan Jackson. Yeah, I'm curious what they can get out of Hassanin. I mean, he obviously is excited to be back. I think that's one of the ultimate unknowns. What can you get out of Ahmed Hassanin? You cut Anzo. I don't know if they're going to do that. If anything, I think the Jets seem like the destination for him. Jets seem like the team that'll be willing to overpay for Alex Anzalone, but that's the position the Jets are in. That's what the Lions were in 2021, and you hope the Jets turn it in the right direction like the Lions did, but that's very yet to be seen. What's up, Brent? How you doing, buddy? Says, love AA, but tired of his social media drama. That's it, and that's why we're talking about it today. That's why I bring it up, because to me, that social media drama is adding up to be too much to where, and I'm not saying he's a distraction like in season, and he's certainly not a guy that's going to cause any problems during the year. As long as he's healthy, he typically produces. So I just don't like him using social media as kind of his bargaining chip. And I think the Lions are going to call his bluff this season. I think maybe, if anything, maybe he knows that, and that's just him looking for money elsewhere. So we're going to find that question out. We're going to find that answer out very soon, but I wanted to get your guys' opinion. If you want to compare notes, I have some deep dives on 10 prospects right now, and I should have 4 or 5 more in the next couple of days in a Google Doc. I love it, buddy. Don't know. Let's get together. Let's do this. I think I said this last week, and I apologize. Things have gotten away from me. But next Thursday, I'd like to have you back on the show if you're available. I think that'd be a great time for us to do a deep dive like that. So let me know next week, Thursday, if you want to jump back on. I'd love to have you, buddy. I think it's time. It's hard to believe that it's been a year already since I watched Hassanin at the Combines. I thought, oh my God, I love this dude. Isn't it crazy? Time flies, man. I'm sure he's ready to get back up and running too. That had to just kill him to be knocked out for the season, and the process he had to go to for the injury release, then to be re-signed and now to be back involved. I'm sure he's ready to go. Got to keep Maddox and Rock, in my opinion. I'm with you, Trim. I think those are two very obvious re-signs. Rock for sure. He was probably your best depth corner all year long. What's up, Andy? How you doing, buddy? Says definitely would re-sign Anzalone if the cost is effective. He's great backers and stays healthy. Yeah, I mean, he's their best coverage linebacker. I think he still was last year. So again, he can produce. So to me, it's really all about the dollar amount. So I'm with you, Andy. Rakestraw. Yeah, we got to get something from Rakestraw. That's another great unknown. And I'm sure a guy that's ready to get at it. He's had no injury luck. The Lions need something out of those two corners. Terrian, again, you kind of know what you're getting. It's just about the growth and him staying healthy. And Rakestraw, you just got to keep him on the field. Rob says he's going to the Jets. I'm with you as far as Anzalone. I think that might be the destination. All right, Don't Know. Let's put it in stone, buddy. Next Thursday, we're going to have Matt, Don't Know Grit, on the channel, on the live, and we'll do something big. I'll connect with you here over the next week, and we'll plan some stuff. Thank you, buddy. That'll be great. Keep Anzalone as long as we don't need to break the bank to keep him. That's it. What's up, Chantel? How you doing? What's up? We're talking Alex Anzalone, and if the Lions should re-sign, if his social media is affecting the Lions to the point where they got to re-sign him, or is this just kind of taking him away now? I want to replace AA with Styles. Let's go. Well, Bradley Chubb, he's available now. I don't know if he necessarily fits the Lions system, but he's out there. What's up, Robert? How you doing, buddy? Appreciate you, man. Good to see you in the chat. Yo, all you guys, I appreciate it so much. Thank you for joining Johnny Gaz Live Tuesdays and Thursdays, 9:30 p.m. Eastern. Make sure to slap that like button if you haven't already. It's the best free way to help out the channel. Thank you guys so much. And hitting up the chat. Thank you. Let's keep diving around some topics. I got some good stuff going on. And without Detroit sports, I had asked the question this week, what are you guys watching? And one of the reasons I asked that is because I was hoping to hear a lot of you say the Olympics. Now, I know that's not for everybody. Olympics aren't everybody's bag of tea. I totally understand that. But I think there's always something you can find in the Olympic coverage that can pique your interest. There's so much going on. And I found myself watching a lot of the luge events, the skeleton, the monobob. The monobob. Come on now. I didn't even know they called it that. I mean, I assumed that there was single bobsled, but I didn't know they called it monobob. So I've been really into that. You're going to make fun of me for this, but the figure skating, it's just, I don't watch figure skating on the regular. I don't know where you go and watch figure skating when it's not the Olympics. So to see that is pretty sweet. You got guys doing backflips and throws. The curling has been amazing. And don't know, I saw your short. I covered a little bit of curling action. I like that. The curling is great. It is electric. It's truly electric when you dive into it. It's also a great sport like golf that if you're just kind of lounging on a Sunday and you want to throw on some curling, that's a great fall asleep sport to have on. So the Olympics, I think, have been great. And again, I bring this back full circle to the Detroit sports scene because of the Olympic hockey tournament, which I think has been really good. It's great to see the NHL players involved in the Olympic hockey tournament. It really adds another layer of drama. It increases the level of play. And again, I think gets a lot of people behind this that wouldn't necessarily have been. So I won't spend too much time on what's been going on. If you guys want to watch the Olympic hockey tournament, I'd say go for it. But if you're not into that, I totally understand. But let's get it back to the Detroit sports scene. Obviously, with the Red Wings and the player involvement there, let's first talk about Lucas Raymond, Sweden's rising star. And he had 3 assists today in one of the qualifying matchups. And Sweden will play the United States in basically the start of the actual tournament. I believe that'll happen on Thursday. So you're going to get Lucas Raymond with Sweden up against Dylan Larkin with the United States. Now, Raymond has been much more productive for his team with Sweden than Larkin has been with the United States. But I think a lot of that has to do with the great lineup that the U.S. is bringing to the table and the fact that Lucas Raymond is truly a rising star, not only with his country in Sweden, but with the Red Wings and in the NHL. Again, he had 3 assists today. He already had several points throughout the tournament. I think it was 5 points through the game that happened today. So now he has 8 points, and he might be leading the tournament in scoring. I got to go check that. So don't quote me on that necessarily, but he's basically established himself as a future leader, especially for Sweden. So they win their game today, and they will face the United States, and I think that'll be a great matchup to watch as part of this tournament. Now, Dylan Larkin, he's playing a different role for Team USA. He hasn't necessarily lit up the score sheet. He has just the 1 assist so far. But I think he stood out on the penalty kill in the defensive zone as a second and third line center, and I think he'll become more important to this team as the knockout round begins. But it's just great to see him involved. Mo Seider playing for Germany. He's a big part of that team. Draisaitl kind of leads the show for the German team, but Mo Seider in the back end has been very effective. He also had a point in today's matchup. And Germany will be playing Slovakia as the tournament starts. So you have Canada versus Czechia, Finland versus Switzerland, Slovakia versus Germany, and Sweden versus the United States. Obviously, the collision course between Canada and the United States for the gold medal will hopefully happen at the end of this tournament, and that certainly will be worth the watch. So we'll be covering that as we get closer and closer to that point. But I want to know if you guys are watching Olympics. They watched Olympic hockey. I've been watching the Red Wings that have been involved. It's really been cool to see. Mile Marker says, I learned curling when I lived in Northwest Ontario. I love it, Mile Marker. You got to come show me how to curl, buddy. I'd love to go and play. I'd love to play. The monobob, incredible. Incredible. It's scary shit. Now, I don't know what's scarier, the monobob or the skeleton. Like, what would you sign yourself up for? Would you want a skeleton? That's the one you're laying on your belly. Just your head illusion. The monobob, you're actually in the bobsled, but it's by yourself. So Brent says, figure skating always amazes me because I never could skate for crap. That's the thing. Like, and again, it's not for everybody. I get it. But like the athleticism involved with figure skating and pairs figure skating, incredible. The twist throws, like and when people fall on ice, there's nothing more devastating than that. My wife said this today as we were watching a little bit of the women's freestyle skate. That and then the speed skating crashes are not great either. Like how they don't cut each other up when they fall, I have no idea. Also, watch the speed skating. If you watch it, they wear like the one glove because they're going the one way and they got to drag that one hand. But on the end of the one glove is like 5 little metal tips, little metal fingers. Just little interesting things that you see throughout the Olympic process. I'm impressed by anything anyone can do on the ice and the snow. That's true. Cruiser says, last thing, the Olympics is fake as well. Hey, I mean, it's entertaining. If it's fake, it's fake, but it's entertaining in some way. It only happens every 4 years, so, it comes and goes. Trim says, my ex-wife was a figure skater. I loved watching her skate. It's a impressive sport. Feats of athleticism. There isn't a look that the U.S. doesn't like. That's true. They're just going. The U.S. hockey team is like a full-on attack. Like they're throwing everything they got at you, and they're going to figure it out at the end. Where Canada is just basically goats all over the place. I don't usually promote people that I have no relationship with, but Coach Chippy, I think his name is, on Facebook. You got to look him up. Coach Chippy. If you like hockey at all, you got to look up Coach Chippy. He is fantastic. He does a great job. But just talking about the Canadian hockey team, man, they're incredible. What about Patrick Kane? That's right, Steven. We'll come back. We'll talk Patrick Kane when the Red Wings kind of kick off, their second half of the season here. I think it's the 26th. February 26th, they're back in action. Mo from Motown, baby. That's right. What's up, Joe? How you doing, buddy? Go Lions. That's right, pal. So, yeah, Olympics has been fun. Olympic hockey's been good. Check in with me. Let me know what you guys are watching for the Olympics. If you see anything crazy, I'd love to hear from you guys. It takes a lot of strength and mental to put that figure skating. That's right, Steven. I can't imagine the pressure. I mean, I forget what the kid's name, Ilya, whatever that guy's name is, had so much pressure. He was like the next biggest thing in figure skating, and he comes out and he finishes 6th and 8th because he falls twice. It just shows you there's just so much pressure on these young athletes. These kids are 18, sometimes younger, 23 years old. It's just amazing. I mean, shoot, I feel pressure when I'm taking my morning poo. I can't imagine like you're sitting in the middle of an ice skating ring at the Olympics. Ring. Watch the All-Star game, not so much into the winter sports, so just a bit of Olympics so far. And ready for spring training, Andy. I'm with you, buddy. Baseball season can't come soon enough. You ever watch Mystery Alaska? Great hockey movie. That is a fantastic hockey movie. I'd love to play on some of those rinks. So, yeah, that was our Olympic update. We talked about Alex Anzalone and if the Lions should re-sign. We just hit on the Red Wings and everything that's going on with them. And then, of course, the Tigers' alternate uniforms. If you guys have not already chimed in, let me know what you think. I got them posted right here. We got the orange, we got the blue. Let me know if you like them, first of all, and if you prefer one or the other. Will you be purchasing any one of these alternate uniforms? I definitely will be, because those are cool. I think that's cool. I'll probably lean more blue because I just don't wear a ton of orange, but it's not that I don't like the orange. I love slightly off-topic questions, Millicent or Lightning. Fire away anytime. So slightly off-topic. How do you feel about flag football being added to the Summer Olympics? I love it. I love it. And here's why. For a few reasons. One, flag football is a much safer sport than regular football. I think it requires almost as much athleticism as regular football, but it takes that danger factor away. B. One and then B. Everyone can play flag football. Everyone. And that I love. Men, women, short, tall, big, little, green, yellow, red, orange. Everyone can play flag football. You know what I mean? So I think it opens up the opportunity for people. It's an easier watch as far as Olympic sports. I can never really see true football being a part of the Olympics. So I think this, is a good step. It's a good question. I appreciate that. Steven says, I was watching a little bit of figure skating yesterday with the pairing. When they pair it up, that's very impressive, especially those flips and twists. That's it, man. It's crazy. Like, are you going to throw somebody on skates, twisting them, and expect it all just to work out? I don't know, man. And they do it. All right, Millicent, we'll keep it there. Yeah, State running away with it. They were up 20 at halftime, and they certainly need a couple victories, Johnny G. So it's good to see them back at it. Good to see them back at it. Let's see where they're at right now. They're up 69-41, 7:42 to play over UCLA, our Spartans. Thank you for the update. Thank you for the update. Since liking and subscribing to Johnny Gaz Sports, my sex life has drastically improved. See what it can do for yours. So I got some of that medical testing back, Trim, and I have to be honest, a lot of the samples look tainted. So I really can't vouch for it, but I will say that the formula seems to be working, and I would say go ahead and continue taking it. That's right, mile marker. Everyone is welcome in flag football. That's why we love it, and I think it's going to fit in well. I think the U.S. will truly dominate. But it'll be interesting to see how do the other countries kind of fit into that routine. Can they hold their own versus what I think the U.S. will bring to the table? Yes, Millicent. Hey, sign up. Let's get you involved. I get nervous just lifting my kids over my head. Yeah, try doing that in skates and then twisting and twirling. Let's give it a shot. That'd be a fun watch. Just people who don't figure skate trying to skate while holding their kids. Can you make it across the ice while holding your pair? That's an Olympic sport right there. We should do that. That's it. I got one more topic for us today, guys, and it is our main topic of the day. Our main topic of the day centers around the Detroit Pistons, because I think right now, if we're looking around the Detroit sports scene, the most exciting thing going at this exact moment has to be the Detroit Pistons. Let's start with the All-Star Game festivities, and you can take or leave some of it. A lot of hate on the dunk competition still, but I would argue that the three-point competition was better this year. I think it will breed even more competition for the three-point aspect of this next year. You've already seen Stephen Curry come out and say, I'm definitely competing next year, and he's kind of calling out the guys from this year's competition. So I think that will kind of lend itself to being better in the future. The dunk contest really comes down to the talent level of people they can get involved. You don't have the LeBrons, you don't have the Giannis's, the Wembys competing in the dunk contest, and until you do, I think that's going to continue to flounder. And this year was just kind of bad. It wasn't good. I watched it. I truly sat there and watched it because I was interested, but it wasn't good. Did you guys like the dunk competition? Because I certainly found myself wanting a lot more from the dunk competition. Jay Cruzen. First of all, Blades of Glory was it's a great movie. How about Blades of Steel? Anybody play Blades of Steel on the NES? That was a great game. Trim, you're at the wrong airport again, dude. Take the left. Tell the pilot to take the left. Gosh, he keeps missing the turn, dude. Oh, I wish my dad, a lifelong fan, was still here to witness and enjoy the Pistons right now. Well, hopefully he's looking down on this team and is enjoying what he's seeing. And that's kind of my point today. We're talking about the All-Star festivities and how the Pistons relate. And now coming out of the All-Star break, what can the Pistons truly be? So let's go back to the All-Star festivities. JB Bickerstaff, Cade Cunningham, Jalen Duren were all a part of the USA Stars team. They kicked off the actual All-Star Game tournament with a win over the World team in a great matchup. Jalen Duren actually had the game-winning assist. I think it was Dylan Brooks that hit the three-pointer to win it in that first game. Stripes, the other USA team, then come out, beat the World team. Beat the Stars team. Again, was a great matchup in a last-second shot, a three-pointer to win it for the Stripes. Stripes have to stay on the court, end up beating the World team, then stay on the court again to play the Stars team, and the Stars come out and really dominate that last matchup of the All-Star Game tournament. Seemed like the Stripes kind of lost their legs. It was kind of the old guard versus the new guard, which Cade and Jalen were a part of, the new guard. And they kind of held their own and ended up winning the All-Star Game championship. So it was really cool to see Cade and Jalen and JB be able to lift up the All-Star Game trophy? And what it made me think is, and ask the question, are the Detroit Pistons one step away from an NBA title? And the All-Star Game championship is not an NBA title, and it's nowhere close, and it has really no bearing on what the Pistons have done prior to the All-Star break and what they'll do post-All-Star break, but it was that vision and that confidence that I thought, well, they can really pull something from this. They've gotten validation from a lot of the national media here this week saying that they're the best team in the NBA right now. I don't think that means ultimately that they will win an NBA title. The national media thinks they will win an NBA title, but it certainly puts them in the limelight coming out of the All-Star break. They're at the top of the East. They have the least losses in all of the NBA. And outside of the current suspensions that are going on, they're coming at it relatively healthy. So Jalen Duren will be out for a few games. Isaiah Stewart, we know, has the 7-game suspension, 6 still left on that suspension. So once they're able to work through that, they'll have their full complement of players as they head towards the playoffs. The truth is, can they kind of battle through these next couple weeks as play resumes outside of the All-Star break? They're playing some pretty high-level teams. They actually have OKC on the schedule. They have the New York Knicks on the schedule, and they're going to be without some of these players. So can they hold up in these matchups? They've proven they've been able to so far. They really beat up on Toronto the game before the All-Star break when they didn't have Beef Stew and Duren for the first game. So does that continue? And then they get their guys back, and the biggest question is, if they're one step away, can the Pistons win an NBA title this season? Do they have enough now? They didn't make a huge splash deadline. Kevin Huerter is the ultimate solution. Another shooter to add to the mix. Do they have enough scoring to win an NBA title? That's really the biggest question. So let me know, guys, in chat. Are the Detroit Pistons one step away? Can they win an NBA title this season? I think they've put themselves in the best position possible. They're the second best record heading in to the All-Star break in franchise history. And there's a lot of good things about this team. A lot of things you can lean on. They might be one scorer away, but there's a lot of other things this team does so well. One of them is defending the rock. They defend maybe better than any team in basketball. The grit they play on the defensive end of the court is second to none. And that can carry the day. It can carry the day if you're able to get a decent offensive performance. But if the Pistons and the lack of another scorer really hold them back, then it isn't always defense that can carry you through an NBA playoffs. Now, let's remember, they still have not won a playoff series. This group hasn't won a playoff series together. So to project them now to an NBA title is taking a huge leap. That's a big leap. But a lot of good things are happening with our Pistons right now, and I think they've put together a team that can win a title. So the question to you guys today is, will the Detroit Pistons win an NBA title? Stephen Cobb says, ain't nobody beat the Pistons in 7. The only team that scares me is the Oklahoma City Thunder. That's going to be the battle, but the Pistons show they could go with any team that's out there. I think you're right. I think they certainly can play with any team that's out there. OKC's, that would be one heck of a series. Defensively, Detroit can hold their own with OKC. I think the question is, again, the scoring. It's really about the second scorer. If you don't get big-time performances every single night from Cade, who is it going to come from consistently? Or is it going to be a mix of players? Tobias Harris one night. Kevin Huerter another night. Duncan Robinson another night. Ron Holland one night. There's a lot of different ways that they can piece it together. Millicent says, absolutely they can win it. Andy says, Pistons can definitely win a championship. Trim says, Nasty Boys will be champions. The new version of the Bad Boys, right? The new version of the Bad Boys. What's funny about that is Sports Illustrated recently ran a digital cover, which you can find in the stories on Johnny Gaz Sports on Facebook, titled The Bad Boys Are Back. And they kind of framed it not just as nostalgia, but kind of a cultural reclamation, The young core being compared to the bad boys, not just because they got the same look, but because they play with that same grit, the same physicality, that same style. And it's not a rebuild anymore. They're a contender, and it's their identity. And that's what this Pistons team is and will be heading out of the All-Star break. And the question really is, are they one step away? Is it enough to win an NBA title? All-Star honors, top of the standings. The narrative is behind them. The entire basketball world is talking. This franchise is no longer under the radar. But I think the toughest tests are really still ahead. Can they recover from these suspensions, and can they get enough scoring? Does this style, this grit, this defensive pressure lead them to an NBA championship? And what I do know is it's going to be really exciting to see. I'm super excited to watch the last third of this NBA season, to see what the Detroit Pistons can continue. I really think that the suspensions almost come at a perfect time. Yes, it hurts them not to have Duren for a matchup against OKC or against New York. But I also believe that this will be sort of the reality check. The team needs to say, okay, we play with a certain amount of grit, but this grit has led to this suspension. What we can't have happen is suspensions at the exact time where we need these players. So as you get towards the playoffs, when you're in the playoffs, they need to be smarter. They can play with the grit and physicality that they have, but it has to stay within a certain confine. You have to stay behind the line. I mean, as bluntly as you can put it. And if they're able to do that, they have the tools necessary to win a championship. Cade Cunningham is truly an MVP candidate. If he continues what he's doing, I think he will have a great argument to be this league's MVP with the resurgence of the Pistons and the way he leads this team. And Brent said it there. He says, keep players healthy and role players step up. Then yes, they can. And can the role players give them what they need at the right times in the right moments? Because what we do know is it's not just one guy. It's not just Cade and one other guy. Most times it's Cade and Duren, but other times it's Cade and Robinson. Sometimes it's Cade and Tobias Harris. You know, I'll say it again. But there has to be someone there when you need them. And if they're able to get that consistently, then absolutely this team has a good shot. Steven says, Cade leads the team well, but team play equals championship for real, for real. I'm with you 100%, my dude. 100%. And that's the great thing about this Pistons team. I mean, Cade Cunningham is the MVP, but it's because he makes the other players around him better and vice versa. It's a great compliment. And JB Bickerstaff, I think maybe it's the ultimate compliment is to pay to the coach, because he's been able to bring this group together. He's behind his players. Even through these suspensions, he stayed behind his players, and they respect him for that. They play for him. And it was made clear even in the All-Star game. That team, the Stars, had the best defense of those three units. They were the grittiest team, and they went out and got it. And there was nobody that was beating the All-Star Stars team that evening. And I pay a lot of that to JB Bickerstaff. I really do. So, yeah, the Pistons actually have Thursday, so just a couple days now, we'll play the Knicks. It's on Prime Video, nationally televised game. It'll be a great game to watch. I mean, the problem is the Pistons will be without Duren, without Beef Stew. 7:30 p.m. tip. But it's a road game. It'll be a great test coming out of the All-Star game to really reset where this Pistons team is at. I think New York is going to want to get this game. It's going to be a great test. I'm not going to sit here and say I think the Pistons roll. I think going on the road against the Knicks without Duren and without your sixth man it's a tough ask. I'm not saying the Pistons can't win that game, and they've had the Knicks number this year. 2 games over the Knicks where they have just dominated. 121-90 the game on January 5th, and then 118-80 on February 6th. That was while I was on vacation. They dominated the Knicks. So we'll see. But I think because of that, the Knicks will want to come at this 100%. So I think it's going to be a tough ask for the undermanned Pistons on Thursday. So I'll have an update for you guys. That game will be going on almost towards the end of the game as we go live on Thursday. So I'll have updates for you there. We will talk about what that looks like. Absolutely. So what else, guys? I want to open up the floor to you. I appreciate so much. It's been a great chat today. A ton of people involved in chat. Dan from Lions Talk Live stopped in. We very much appreciate that. Make sure to go check out Dan on YouTube every morning and as well as throughout the day when there's breaking news, but specifically in the mornings between 7:30. Dan, Lions Talk Live, and the Duke crew are there to talk Lions football. So definitely go check them out. Guys like Trim come from that group, and they are a good group of people. I appreciate everybody over there. Also, Don't Know Grit across all of your socials. I found him through TikTok. Does fantastic work specific on the Detroit Lions. Puts a great spin on things and really does a deep dive on the information that you need for Detroit Lions football in the offseason. So definitely go check out Matt. We're going to get together next Thursday. It'll be myself and Don't Know Grit in this forum on next Thursday at 9:30. We're also going to have a special guest. It's what at least planned right now, a special guest on Thursday. Someone new I'm going to bring to the table. And I'm not into big surprises, so I'm not going to play it that way because I want to make sure you guys have an opportunity to go see this content creator and figure out, if that's something you want to come back and see us on Thursday this week. That is the plan. Of course, I'll have my Around the D topics. We'll hit on everything updated on Detroit sports. The Pistons will be kicking off the last half of their year with the Knicks, so we'll have that going on. We'll have some Olympic hockey updates as well and a ton of good stuff with the Lions, Tigers, and Red Wings. But if you guys go to TikTok, this is where I discovered this content creator. I'm going to try and pull up his page now. See if I can share this. See if I can do this right. See if I can do this right. We're going to get it there. Don't worry, guys. I'll get there. Let's remove this and add. There we go. All right. So on Thursday this week, I'm going to bring on a special guest. Michigan's new pod one. Michigan's new pod on TikTok. Make sure to go check him out. Very passionate content creator. Not only just Detroit sports, but all across the Detroit sports scene. And through a little bit of more discovery here in the last couple of weeks, he actually hits on a lot of different topics. Again, very passionate, is going to bring his flavor and attitude to the channel on Thursday this week. We're working out what our special topics will be. It's going to be something surrounding most likely either the Lions or Pistons. I'll have some updates for you on my channel as we get closer to Thursday, but we will have a special guest segment with Michigan's new podcast. Make sure to go check him out on TikTok, and you will see him live on Thursday this week on Johnny Gaz Live. So definitely come and check us out. We will be here for you guys. And then Don't Know Grit will be back with us next Thursday. We're going to go deep dive into Lions. Might do a little mock draft talk, free agent talk. Again, Matt, we'll get together and iron out exactly what that'll look like so we can give these folks the best Detroit Lions news and information they need next Thursday. So we got a couple busy lives coming up. Of course, this week, Thursday, with a special guest, Michigan new pod next Thursday, and then Tuesday next week will be our normal routine. I'll have shorts coming out all week long, stemming from this live and a ton of other stuff with Detroit sports content. Should be a fun week. Should be a fun week. Appreciate it, Millicent. Yes, please hit that like button if you haven't already. Brent says, Knicks will be looking for some payback against our depleted roster. I'm expecting a slugfest. They're going to be coming at us, Brent. That's going to be a tough one for the Pistons. And I'm always optimistic, and with this team, you never know. I mean, they play harder than anybody else. And sometimes that just outworks other teams. But I think the Knicks are going to be firing on all cylinders. They're going to want this one. It's going to be a tough one for the Pistons. Milsa says, I start every day with Lions Talk Live. I highly recommend Dan's show. He's a great guy. Great topics every day, updated news and notes. You got to love it. Let's go. Woo! Yeah, Trim, I appreciate you, buddy. Hope you have a great hump day. Hope everybody has a fantastic hump day, a great rest of your week. Let's call it right there. We're just under an hour. Again, I appreciate you guys so much. Make sure to come back and see me on Thursday with our special guest, 9:30 p.m. Eastern time. Then we'll be back next week, same time, Tuesdays and Thursday. Make sure to check out at Johnny Gaz Sports across all your socials. Facebook page is growing like crazy right now with the introduction of all the other Detroit sports, and that's really what I've been working on lately, guys. It hasn't been solely Detroit Lions. I've really tried to open up the channel a little bit more, kind of an overarching picture of the Detroit sports scene rather than a deep dive on Lions every single day. So let me know what you like, what you're seeing there, what you'd like to see more of, because I am a man of the people more than anything else. This channel is not just for me, it's for us. It's for Detroit Lions sports fans, Detroit sports fans in general, and I appreciate you guys being a part of this. I really do. One pride worldwide. That's right, buddy. That's right. I appreciate you guys very much. We're going to cut it right there. It's been a fun night. I appreciate everyone who's been involved in the chat today. Everyone that's been on the chat, Stephen Cobb, Lightning, Millicent, Don't Know Grit, Brent, Trim, all day, every day. Appreciate you so much. Andy Cochran, Brent, all over the place. Appreciate you guys so much. Jay Cruzen was here today. Blades of Steel made an appearance. We love that. Mile Marker was here. Don't Know. Dan from Lion Talk Live. Johnny Gaz Sr., I see you. I feel you. Chantel was in the house. Robert Murphy hanging out with us. Everybody was Rob Jackson. I see you, buddy. All you guys, thank you so much. Peace and love. Have a fantastic Wednesday. I will see you all on Thursday. Be good. Be well. Take care of yourself and the ones around you.